This NASCAR 2024, even more news edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by KUTT. KUTT is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Head to KUTT.com. That's KUTT.com. Use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We're also brought to you by the SGPN merch store. 15% off of everything when you use the promo code playoffs.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. And thank each and every one of you for making us a part of your everyday schedule. It's just amazing here on a Friday afternoon as I look out and see how many of you folks are actually joining us live in the YouTube to do this. And then, of course, to go back through the numbers and see how many of you guys actually listen to this every single day, even though we have yet to talk about actual races. But that, Cody, will change very, very soon. On Monday, we won't be talking about that anymore. We'll be setting up race lines and talking about the Clash, buddy. I cannot wait.
Oh, breaking news, Rod. This is the last episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast before it is a race week. Oh, yes, we have racing back next week, racing to talk about. We'll have actual race betting picks. We will have DFS plays. We'll have Underdog to talk about. Oh, it is going to be so beautiful. Hopefully the books will bless us over the weekend with some NASCAR Mexico odds. I'm so pumped. It is going to be so exciting. It's a short off season for NASCAR always, but it still feels too long.
We may have to do like a 24-hour Le Mans ourselves of just, straight up 24 hours. Welcome in to Jetty May. Been waiting on NASCAR season. Let's make some money indeed, my friend.
It's here. Appreciate you tagging along. We got just kind of a fun show again. And we're just kind of keeping it light this week, having some fun shows, catching up on all the news. Been a lot of news over NASCAR here lately, and getting ready for cars on the track. 8 days from today, Rod. We're Kyle Busch days away.
Kyle Busch days away. Yeah, you're right. The last episode of the off season.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. days. Okay.
Dale Earnhardt. Yeah, I was gonna say because
Busch only has one season in the 8. We won't give him that much credit yet.
Tyler Reddick days away. I don't know.
Voldemort days. Nobody remembers he drove that car.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there's some people out there I'm sure that remember. Anyways, so yes, this is of course, like we said, the last of the off season. We'll touch up on some news. There's a little bit of housekeeping that we still got to get through. There's some announcements that have been made over the last few days that we've been talking about odds. So we'll sort of get there and talk about some stuff. And then of course, as we always do, we'll just send you on the weekend anticipating the Clash, because like I said, this is going to be a fantastic event, and we're excited to welcome it in. So, all right, Cody, you know what? I want to turn to a broadcast story first. I figure we should just go ahead and kick in this. Also, folks, if you're in the YouTube chat right now and you have questions or you want to talk to us about something, as we, kind of gear down on this off season. Feel free. The chat is wide open for you today as well. We're going to work on getting a call line in. That's going to be a lot of fun as well. I'm still working on that, but once we get that going, we'll work on that. So as we know, Kevin Harvick joining the Fox booth for the broadcast with Clint Boyer and, of course, our friend Mike Joy. I know that Kevin Harvick has already done this several times over, and he's been in there with Xfinity and stuff like that. But, there's a lot of people that are, I don't know, they're not really against having the former drivers or former athletes up in the booth. I know there's very mixed feelings about having former athletes in the booth and what they bring to it. But Kevin Harvick's one of those guys that's just flat out good in the booth. And first of all, saying hello to Kyle Lee. Kyle, what's up, guys? Can't wait to be back.
Kyle. Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, that's every sport. Like they're the people who have played the game or driven in those cars and they understand it. And Kevin Harvick, I mean, from his perspective, you got Clint Boyer up there, and he was a longtime NASCAR driver, right? But he didn't even race in this next-gen car. Now you're getting Harvick fresh out of the car. Just the last time NASCAR was on the track, Kevin Harvick was on the track with them. He competed in the last full season. Now you're going to get his, perspective from the booth, which I think is great. We've seen him do the Xfinity races over the years and all of that. He's one of the natural guys in there. And it was a natural progression for him to go. I mean, really, we've known this. He was going to have this job for 2 years, right? They've literally just been filling it in, and they had Tony Stewart do some races last year and Danica, and I think they had Jeff Gordon back for one and DW. Like, they were just filling in people, holding the spot for Kevin Harvick because he's the guy that's been circled. We know Fox is, of course, re-upped on the new TV deal, so they're going to be hanging around for a while as well. So I'm excited. I think that Clint and Kevin know each other really well. They raced together. I believe they were both at RCR together back in the day because I think Kevin was still there when Boyer was driving that 07 Jack Daniels car, and then again at SHR for a while there at the end of Clint's career. So they know each other really well. I think they'll bounce off of each other very good, and excited to hear Kevin's perspective on things from the booth.
He's always been one of those guys where there's a lot of the former athletes too. Sometimes when you hear him, and especially when they first get started, they lean so heavy on the cliches. They try to be a broadcaster, and they don't really succeed right away because they have it in their head. They played, so they don't really know. I mean, they've listened to the broadcast and they feel like they know what they're doing, and it takes them a little while to kind of settle in to being a broadcaster. Kevin really just kind of jumped in, and he doesn't lean on cliches. He's so insightful when he gives his analysis and what the drivers are thinking. And, again, to me, that's so much more valuable a lot of times than a lot of these guys that are playing as broadcasters.
Yeah. Some people it's like really forced. You see it and you're like, they're trying, right? You can tell they're trying, but it's like with Kevin, it is very naturally he's got the gift for it and sat down and he does well. And I mean, he's done so many races already, in the Fox booth with Xfinity and trucks, maybe even two. I mean, he's done all of that stuff. So I don't think there will be any like, oh, he looks new type of transition. I think it'll be very natural and just be the new booth we're used to.
So it's funny. He begins his coverage on February 4th. He drove the 4 car. I know it's a coincidence, but it's a pretty funny coincidence for Kevin Harvick to be doing that. Just hit the chat real quick before we jump to break. Jaddy May, actually new to the sportsbook scene. He said it'll be his first season in NASCAR, but he's seen it could be very profitable. Not sure what the terms are. We'll give you a brief overview for sure. In fact, we'll continue to do that. Go back through too and listen to a few of them. We'll catch you up on that one. And then of course, top racers and new racers, definitely we'll hit on that as well. NASCAR betting's a little different. Obviously, we walk you through that too, as far as what to look for. And I mean, this isn't necessarily the same as spread betting in the football, baseball, basketball world. You're obviously betting on single drivers, and a lot of the misconception of NASCAR is that you only have to bet on the winners. But listen to any one of our race ones, and you'll know that that's far from the truth. There's so many more props out there, and more being added almost every single week. So stick with us. Again, we'll give you that overview, and we'll help walk you through some of the better bets that we see.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, welcome to NASCAR betting for one. And, anybody else that's out there that's new, Obviously, we're not giving out picks today, but next week already for the Clash, we're going to have picks. So we'll have our pick shows every week, explain why we're taking picks. It's Rod and I like to talk. So it's not just, you don't just tune in and we're like, okay, this, and that, and that's it. We get in depth why we're taking picks, who we're picking, why we're watching people, and everything. So yeah, it's something I can definitely suggest though is go back and look through our episodes we've been doing this off season. We've talked about like the driver changes, how that's going to affect things. We've gone over championship odds. We did the fantasy deal last week and this week, I guess it was Friday and Monday, where we picked, drivers for each race throughout the season. All those things I think were very helpful in just getting you acquainted to it and then kind of learning our thoughts going into the season. And things will change. We'll have, be high on people that things won't turn out well going into the season, and we'll adjust. We'll have been low on people that we need, should have been high on, and we're quick to adjust to that. And we've, even was it, I don't remember if it was last season or 2 seasons ago with Denny Hamlin. I mean, fading him for the first half of the season, we made a ton of money. And then we switched and we bet on him the second half of the season and made a ton of money both ways. So got to be willing to adapt. But betting on NASCAR, in my opinion, is more fun than any other sport. I love the NFL. I love betting on it, but so many things you can get into when it comes to racing and betting on NASCAR. So, welcome to the ride. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Buckle up. You're in for a hell of a ride. So, all right, we'll be back with more news, but let me tell you first about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy, as always, has a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy players all season long. NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball, college football, F1, NASCAR, so many more for you to get in on. Simply pick higher or lower on your favorite players' fantasy stats and cash in. You can win 100x with some spicy plays. Listen, I've been saying it all week long. George Kittle, 4.5 receptions. Take the higher than on that. I know that it necessarily hasn't hit a lot for George Kittle, but this is a big game. And when the big game is here, the big guys show up. So give me George Kittle higher than 4.5 receptions on the game on Sunday. Watch along, make your picks. Maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, UnderdogFantasy.com. And when you sign up with the promo code RACE-SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code RACE-SGPN.
Just creating the graphics as we go.
I tried to make it sound like, an insert, where they're like,
insert the actual code here.
When you use the code RACE-SGPN, that's what I was trying to do it. So
yes, that was hilarious.
Thank you.
I also liken George Kittle on something on Underdog. I'll have my offensive player article coming out, I think tomorrow. Maybe it's today. I can't remember what Jack said, but it'll be out soon over on sportsgamblingpodcast.com. It's got a Kittle play in there, not receptions, but found a way that I liked going with the higher on him. So make sure you check it out.
I mean, listen, this isn't a football podcast, and I could talk about the Niners all damn day, but I'm just saying right now that this is a big statement game for these guys. They're at home, playing a tough team. Let's go Niners. So, all right. Speaking of sunny California, which is where the rest of NASCAR will be this coming weekend as well. Funny that the Niners will be in San Francisco and everybody else will be in LA for this next couple of weekends. The Clash, my friend, is going to be a lot of fun, and I know that anytime they start setting up that track in the LA Coliseum, it starts to look fantastic, and they've been doing that. And man, it just looks so gorgeous.
It is absolutely beautiful. Might be the last time we get this one, I think, potentially, right? It was a 3-year deal. This, of course, will be the 3rd year. Potential that it gets moved somewhere else next year. It'll be interesting, obviously, with weather, what they can do, where they can do it. But yeah, this might be the last time we get this one in the Coliseum. So let's enjoy it. And man, it's been a lot of fun the last couple of years.
Yeah, and again, when we talked about this being sort of like a traveling circus, right? I mean, obviously the Coliseum was the first one to do it, but then you start to think about where the next few could be. What other Coliseums, what other stadiums could have this type of a setup, and almost feel like the Coliseum is unique in its own right? That the shape of the Coliseum, the way that it's laid out, I mean, you could have stadiums to take this, but like, what other one sort of offers the same sort of grandiose nature as the Coliseum? And could you make the track fit, I suppose, in any other venue?
Yeah, I don't exactly know. I know that there's been a race before in Soldier Field in Chicago. NASCAR raced there. I think it was in the 50s. So that'd be something. Obviously, you're probably not doing that for the Clash. A little cold here in the Midwest. So it would have to be like maybe you put the All-Star type of race in there or something like that. But yeah, I mean, looking around, I don't know what other venues would be able to actually hold. Like you said, the Coliseum is kind of a little bit of a different layout than necessarily all the other stadiums. I think Memorial Stadium, Lincoln, Nebraska, would be a great place for it, mostly because it's 3 miles from here. But I would love to see that.
I mean, no doubt. I'd love to see anything close enough to here that's not an hour and a half drive away. I would appreciate something, about a half hour away. But yeah, that'll work for now. All right, there's a question in the chat that actually leads us into one of the news stories that we were actually going to be talking about. So, Kyle, thanks for jumping the gun on this one and taking us there early. He says on LMC signing Trevor Bayne. How many competition advisors do they need?
Yeah, they've got a few competition advisors. I mean, like Matt Kenseth is there. Obviously, Jimmy Johnson's in the house. I don't know. The Trevor Bayne part of that, he's a good driver, right? We've seen him do well in the Gibbs equipment in Xfinity the last few years. He's got the Daytona 500 win. I think he's still the youngest Daytona 500 winner from when he won it back in the day. I don't know. I think it's good to have, veteran racers in there helping coach your younger guys. And Eric Jones has been around for a little bit, and John Hunter's, he's been around, but he's still a younger guy for sure. So the more minds and brains you can get to put into all those things, I think those are good. The thing I'm most excited about from the Legacy Motor Club announcements is Corey Heim is going to be there. Them and 2311, he'll be the relief driver. Obviously, he's a big TRD development driver. And, they've all got the partnership there with Gibbs, with all that stuff. So, again, which I've talked about before, and I really see this as the most likely scenario. I honestly think this is the last season we have Martin Truex Jr. I think he'll retire at the end of this season. I think John Hunter is then already slated to slide into that 19 car. I think they'll renumber it back to the 18 car. And then Corey Heim goes straight from the Truck Series, like we've seen with St. Smith, Carson Osevar here, and he'll slide into that 42 car. So I was excited to see that Heim is going to be there. Not only the fill-in driver or the replacement driver, whatever it's called, but he's going to be the simulator guy for Legacy as well. So he's already going to be building those relationships in the Legacy building. He's going to be, doing the sim work for them, helping with the setups, all of that stuff. I think that's really solid groundwork being laid towards him just sliding right into that ride. And whether it's, whether this is Truex's last year or next year, I really don't see him going past next year. I think this will probably be the last year, right? Even last year maybe was going to be it. But I think that there's a solid succession plan already set into place, and it's going to keep those Toyota seats filled with some really good drivers.
And who's not to say that at some point Legacy doesn't extend to a third car or try to get a third car? I mean,
2311's definitely talked about it. And I think Denny wants to have another one too. So as being part of that entire group and family, that's a high possibility.
Yeah. And really, honestly, you can sit there and think to yourself, they're always going to want, and like you said, 2311, Legacy Motor, they're all just itching to add one more to their stable. And there's some teams that could do away with their charters and probably be just okay with it. I mean, not to say that we're taking away from the small charters, but if I'm wanting,
Colleague is like waiting to sell. I think. I mean, somebody in Colleague made some weird comments a couple years ago of they're not selling anything in the next, or a couple weeks ago of they're not selling anything in the next 24 months. Like, why would you say 24 months specifically? It was weird, but they seem to not. I mean, they don't even have drivers for their car this year, so I wouldn't be surprised if they can't wait out Dale Jr. wanting to buy into the Cup Series. Their charters could easily be for sale in the near future.
Yeah, and again, to me, I feel like if Legacy does do well in Toyota now, right? If they start to build some steam, they do have a pretty good stable now of drivers that they can build on and just sort of
how
move up through the
strong,
system.
I know that Toyota's the
It's a strong
smallest
pipeline.
Yeah, and they're the smallest manufacturer, of course, in the Cup Series and throughout the series. But like they've got 8-time cars now, and like 8 really, really good drive. It's strong all across the board. You got the 4 Gibbs cars; those are all great. 2 former champions. Christopher Bell's an up and comer. Ty Gibbs is one of the most talented guys, coming up that we've seen in years. Then you go over to 2311 and Reddick. I'm obviously very high on him. I think he's one of the most talented guys in the Cup Series. Bubba's a strong driver. He continues to improve. Then you go over to Legacy, and Eric Jones is a very good driver. John Hunter, again, I think this path he's taken going back down and working his way back up, he looks to be a strong driver. I think he's tapped for that Gibbs future. So, man, they're sitting real good.
They really are too. And I'm excited to see the future, not just because I'm a Jimmy Johnson fan, but because, I need me some Legacy motorsport.
I mentioned all those Toyota drivers. I didn't even talk about Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The greatest of all time.
That guy, by the way, Jimmy Johnson, whoever he is. All right. We've got some more to talk about for sure, but I want to tell you about KUTT. We're excited about KUTT. Let me tell you why we're excited about KUTT, because we are going to be using this all season long. When we get NASCAR up and running on KUTT, we're already in talks with them. Cody is already in talks. I'm going to give credit's due. Cody is in talks with them right now about getting NASCAR prominent on the app. And when we do, we are going to be KUTT betting our asses off all season long. So keep an eye out on that. It's a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based and available in 40 states. Look, peer-to-peer social betting is new, and it's a better way to bet. You can bet directly against your friends. Now, going up against the books, now it's just you, mano y mano, against your friend that you want to beat, or other users. Doesn't even have to be your friends. Like, you could bet your enemies. That's better to win your enemies' money, right, than your friends. You could do this on sports, but you can also do this on politics, pop culture, and any other event that's got a verifiable outcome. It's tons of fun, and they give you tons of social features. They give it the feel of a betting social network. Plus, KUTT offers the lowest VIG and fully customizable odds, which means you can create your own bets. Best of all, KUTT handles the payment side of things, so you never have to chase anyone down for money ever again. They got social features like group chats, betting leaderboards, head-to-head history, user profiles, fan groups, so much more, and rewards. Get cash back every single time you bet against your friends or other users. Reminder that KUTT is the peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based and legal in 40 states. Head to KUTT.com. That's KUTT.com. Use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool. You're going to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use promo code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. Just got my outstanding SGP green beanie in the mail the other day. Can't wait to get my other bag that I'm getting as well. I'm getting a tote bag because I travel a lot and I want to rep the SGP as I travel. You too can get all of your favorite merchandise in the merch store, and I'm going to reward you by doing it by giving you a promo code. Use playoffs. You're going to get 15% off of all items all month long. Find your favorite racing gambling podcast hat, mug, sweater, I don't care what it is, grab it. And then, of course, let everybody know that we sent you, because we're in a contest all season long with everybody till the end of the month, really, I guess all season long. Till the end of the month. Just keep buying the merch. The more you do it, the more we reward you, the more I can stop reading this to you and feeling awkward. So, yeah, love you. Buy our merch. Playoffs, get 15% off.
That was beautiful. I got my NASCAR Gambling Podcast video up.
Yeah, buddy. I got my
comfortable. There you go. Company men here.
Company men. My little hood. I love this thing.
Kyle says KUTT looks interesting. definitely got to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you do. It is a great platform. As they've come on board with us, I got on it, checked it out. Like a lot of good stuff on there. And what's great, if you're not in a legal gambling state, this is something that is available a lot of places that aren't. Like where I'm at here in Nebraska, you can literally you can submit a bet you want to place. So if there's something you can't find out on the books there, you can submit the bet to them. It's got to go through their process and it's got to have a verifiable outcome and everything. But you can submit write up the bet, what you think the odds should be, the percentages of it hitting, all this. And if somebody else out there wants to take it, you can do it. So that's what's awesome. Like Rod said, I've been talking with them about getting NASCAR on there. So again, if you've got something you want to bet head to head against me with, shoot me a message, hit me up on the Discord, Twitter, whatever. We're going to start getting some stuff loaded in there for season long stuff and kind of get them into the NASCAR game. They're working behind the scenes with a few things, but we're going to have some NASCAR stuff rolling there soon. So hit me up and definitely check it out because it really is a pretty cool platform.
It really is. And again, it's one of those situations where, not a lot of legal betting states sometimes let you do different things, but if it's available in a state that's not legal gambling, that's even better because it's peer-to-peer.
I don't exactly know how all that works behind the scenes, but I mean, here you have to go to one of the 3 casinos in the state where you can play sports wagers, but you can use this because since it's peer-to-peer, I think that's the difference is I can just log on, if I want to grab the Chiefs 3.5 this week or whatever, I can just log on there and get it against someone else that's offering up that thing. So it's I think that's great. Sometimes people complain a lot about ads and stuff, but for the ads that we get on this platform, I enjoy them a lot because it introduces me to these wonderful tools and stuff. Like now we get to use this platform all year because we know what it is. It's great.
I know Prize Picks has been my savior, really,
yes.
honestly. So
yeah, I mean, just getting to know some of these things and tools like Hall of Fame bets. Like if you weren't listening to this network, you might not have heard of them. You might not be able to use it. Like I think it's wonderful.
Me too. JDK, hey buddy, how's it going? He says
JDK, he's building his new model thing right now. I think that's why he's asking these questions. Wants to know if IMS is an intermediate at 2.5. Yes, it will be for the Cup Series. Something this is great. Let's lead right into this, Rod. They for Xfinity Series this season at IMS, which is Indianapolis Motor Speedway, if you don't know, going back to the oval there at IMS and at Michigan, Xfinity is going to run the plate package at those 2 tracks this season, or it's not a plate anymore, but the super speedway package. So it's going to be the drafting style of racing, which is just it should be beautiful, right? It should be absolutely amazing. We've loved what it's done with Atlanta, and they redid that track and made it to a super speedway, right? But I think even putting it on these bigger tracks where it's going to create the pack racing in Michigan like that, how's that not going to be just great? And then again at Indy as well, I'm kind of really excited for that. It's going to be interesting to see, and I think you're probably testing it kind of in Xfinity. We'll see how it goes there before we consider, making it a Cup Series thing. Is it just a disaster is it a true super speedway race, or is it where it's more, super speedway style of racing without the exact, bumper to bumper pack, everything that super speedway has to offer. I'm pretty interested to see how that all kind of plays out.
I mean, how many super speedway style races do they want on the schedule? Like, are they just trying to throw chaos?
Are you asking me, Rod? Because I want more. I love.
I know you do. I know it's probably one
Let's
of the
get Texas done next.
I was just thinking the same, or like Charlotte. Can we put
no? But Charlotte's been good at racing on that. We need to get rid of the Roval and bring back the Oval. Leave it how it is. It's fine. That's the thing with the intermediates right now is they've been so good. I don't know. We need to change those too much, but I think Xfinity is a good place to try those. The Cup Series will still just be the regular intermediate package at those, but it will be interesting. Little test in the waters to kind of see what happens in the Xfinity for those 2.
So then I guess what does that do for us as far as betting is concerned? Because now we can't necessarily take the same sort of statistics if we're pack racing this, right? I mean, do we feel like a super speedway?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and we'll see as we get closer. I'm kind of interested to see what some of the expert I like to listen to a lot of like the people who have been in the sport, right? As far as race car drivers, former crew chiefs, engineers, whatever the deal is. Kind of like to see what they're thinking it's going to look like, and maybe what it's. I would imagine we're going to have to treat it more like a super speedway and open things up. Maybe it's a cross between you still want to lean towards the better drivers, but there's some opportunity for the lower tier drivers. I'm very interested to see how that's going to shake out. And then I don't remember which one falls first on the schedule, but I think once we get to one and we kind of see how it works out, right? I think it'll make it easier to when we're going to the other one to see what that looks like. And it looks like they're back to back. Okay, they're back to back races, but that's the break. So July 20th will be the Indianapolis race, and then we've got 2 weeks off for the Olympics. And then August 17th will be the next Xfinity race, and that will be at Michigan. So we'll at least get a look at it at Indy. And then I think, turning right around and having that fairly fresh knowledge in our mind, we'll be able to kind of see how we want to play that at Michigan.
Indeed. I will bring up a new sponsor that we're going to see for not just the car of number 71 car, right? Zane Smith is actually getting a new sponsor.
I gotta get used to 71 again. It's like Dave Marcus out there.
Dude, that's old school. Focused Health will be joining the 71 team, and they're actually sponsoring a couple of Xfinity races at KUTT and Atlanta. The Atlanta September race. So,
and they're going to be primary for 20 races, I think, which is a big deal. That's a lot of races. So it's always good to get all these new sponsors been coming into the sport lately. It's always good to see that. I saw King's Hawaiian is back, which means the Bread Kozlowski nickname can stick around. That's always a lot of fun.
No, but listen, this time when I'm in Sonoma, I'm gonna grab some, because last time I didn't grab any. They were sitting there. There was a whole setup of King's Hawaiian, and I didn't grab.
How do you not? I grab them and pay a ton for them at the store. Right? If they're sitting right there, grab them, Rod. Jeez, come on, take advantage. Those things are fucking good.
They are too. I love their buns. They're pretzel buns.
Oh, that's all. Everything they make is great.
I agree.
King's Hawaiian, if you need somewhere else to sponsor, we're accepting. You can call me Bread Zeeb if you want. I don't care.
Let's see.
I don't know if the alliteration's there, but we'll make it work.
I'll take it. No, but you're right. It is good to see. It is good to see the influx of money into the sport, and new sponsors like we talk about, because a lot of times, especially back in the day, it was the same sponsors, really, and they sort of just.
I miss those days too, but
yeah. But now it's of course, when one car would have the same sponsor for several years in a row, now you're going to have cars with different sponsors, different races.
Yeah, I like it. I have no complaints, and it's good to see more companies getting involved. That leads to their employees checking things out, getting involved, and being able to experience races and stuff. And I think that's great.
Indeed. All right, Cody, where are we going next?
Where do you want to go next, Rod? Here's one that's interesting. So NASCAR is going to do a demo run of its electric vehicle, which is a compact utility vehicle, during the Clash race day next week. Not planning to race it or start a series at this time, but it's not of a particular make. It's just a generic NASCAR body, as Bob Pockris pointed out on his Twitter. Most importantly, it has headlights on the thing, which is a little bit of a change, right? But David Reagan is going to be the guy driving. Of course, we know he's going to be in the 60 car for RFK at Daytona 500. We've talked about him. We're definitely going to be betting on him. Don't worry. But yeah, he's going to just drive this out, kind of show people, which is an interesting thing. And there's been a lot of, talk back and forth of NASCAR kind of having an EV type of series eventually an electric series or whatever the thing is. Formula E. I know you've gotten into it. I need to get into it now so we can talk about it over on the F1 Gambling Podcast. I'm excited for this, and a lot of old school fans get upset about things like this, and this isn't here to replace the Cup Series, at least not now. Someday there's a potential we're going to get there, right? But this could just create a new series for us, Rod. Is that not more series, like more racing, more like, yes, what, who doesn't want this? I don't understand. Please give us another series Let us bet on NASCAR EV. Come on. I would love that.
And I told you, so I don't know if you guys, if I said it here, if I said it on the F1 gambling podcast, but these Formula E cars, I mean, they get up to 180 miles an hour, and it's not as if they can't, they can't get up in speed. They can definitely get up in speed. It's just a matter of now you're running a completely different package. And yeah, for me, I loved watching that Formula E race because it was a little bit more competitive than a Formula One race. Right. I mean, these guys, they're not really pulling away from each other. The lead did stretch out to like 4 or 5 seconds, which, it's still a considerable lead when you're talking about racing. It's kind of hard to overcome a 4-second lead, but the rest of the pack was basically clumped up. And not to mention, they were saying in the broadcast that 4-second lead is not necessarily the norm. So, I mean, look, I get it both ways. I get it from the people that don't want to see things change because they like the way it is. But when you look at how the sport has changed, even from when I first started watching, back in 2003, like 20 years ago, this sport looked a hell of a lot different than it does even now. Right. And I still love this sport, and I still love the way that it's evolving and it's changing and it's adapting to its environment. It was a great then. Hell yeah, it was great then. But it's still so good now that I don't know, even if they did go to a hybrid type of a situation, like Formula One, right? Where it's the battery and the fuel and all that other stuff.
You know how loud those cars still are, Rod?
Like, dude.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And I mean, this next gen car, I've been down in the garage area last year. This car is louder than any Cup Series car we've had that I've ever heard. I mean, it is a fucking loud car. And you could still have loud cars. You could still have, gas engines. And there's still ways to have those things and incorporate some EV parts. But why not? I mean, EV and electrical cars, it's becoming a big thing. Why not jump on it and have a whole nother series that's dedicated? So there is nothing bad about that at all. I love that they're working on it. I would love to have, every week now we've got, a truck race, an Xfinity race, a Cup race, and throw in some EV races, and maybe they run a more limited schedule to start, and they're racing on the weekends. The truck series that are racing, so we're still sticking with 3 series, whatever the case may be. Like, I don't see a downside to this. I think it's all going to be great. It's not here. We're not going to have electric Cup cars next year. Like, it's not going to be the case. But that's how the world's going. Let's jump on that and have something just different. And so you're not going to have fuel stops. You're going to have battery, however it works. It's going to be exciting and different and fun. So I'm looking forward to it.
Look, man, I am as a junkie that would watch NASCAR hoverboard racing. I honestly,
flying cars. Yes.
Yes.
That's gonna be in the NASCAR of the future. Although I think in the past they thought that we would be there already, but
yeah. Don't watch.
Have you ever seen the? Gosh, I'm trying to think of what it's like Racing Illustrator or whatever. One of the magazines, and it's like from 1994 or so, or I think it's earlier than that because it's got like Earnhardt in the 3 and Petty in the 43, and it's like the future of NASCAR, and they're like spaceship looking bubble things, and it's like these are what the cars are going to look, and they look nothing like that. Of course, they never have, but it's funny how like throughout the history of all this, people have thought, right? I mean, back in the day, like we're going to have flying cars by now, all this stuff, and it's like it's not advancing like that fast. So everybody just relax.
Yeah, I love that everybody thought we would be like in rocket powered cars
right.
at this point.
Like we're just full on Jetsons in 2020. Like, no, that's not happening.
One thing I did want to touch on as well, our buddy Bob Procris had sat down with Martin Truex Jr. because we have been talking so much about this being his last season, possibly. What is the 19 going to do? Can he, how long can he go? Well, thank you, Bob, for asking that question, because now we have an answer. The answer is we don't know.
We don't know.
The answer is Martin Truex Jr. is still dodging the question.
Well, and I think that Martin Truex Jr. doesn't truly know either. I think that's really an honest answer from him. And we saw that last year, right? I don't think he decided he was coming back this year until near the end of the season when he announced it, and he just said, "Hey, I'm back." I think it came down to that. If you kind of heard anything about his personal life, like when he's out of the sport, he's going to be more of a ghost than Carl Edwards. I think you won't even hear from the guy ever again. Probably he's going to be out on a boat fishing. He's going to be hunting, and he's just going to be gone. Like, it's just going to be like that, where he just disappears into thin air, basically. So he's completely fine with that kind of stuff. He was having a lot of fun near the end of last season, wins the regular season title. Obviously, the playoffs did not go in their favor, and they had a lot of issues and really struggled throughout the playoffs, which, sucked. But I think that we'll still see another solid season from him. Again, the age thing, he's not that old, though. I don't think that he's to that cliff yet or anything. But I think that Martin Truex Jr. doesn't even know the real answer to that, and in which case, Gibbs doesn't know the answer and Toyota doesn't know the answer. I think that where he's at and in his relationships with places like Bass Pro and everything, I think that the door is open. If you want to come back for another year, we'll sign another 1-year deal with you. And if you don't, okay, we've got a succession plan here where, John Hunter will slide over, Corey Heim slides up, and I think that can be pushed off a year. Maybe you slide Heim into one of those Xfinity rides next year, whatever the case may be. But yeah, I think that even Martin Truex Jr. himself doesn't know the answer to that question because I don't think he's decided yet. And he's not going to be one of these guys where it's, we have the full season of Martin Truex Jr.'s last season. It's going to be, we get towards the end of the year and he's like, hey, I'm not coming back. Or we get through the end of the year. And then like Carl Edwards, although we didn't see that one coming, it's just, hey, I'm done. See you later.
Backflipped his way out of the sport completely. Wouldn't it be nice though? Wouldn't it be nice to just be able to disappear, like literally just disappear and have enough money and security to just know that you don't
fall
have
right
to,
off the face of the earth.
Oh yeah. Fish and
that's the dream, Rod, someday.
That is the dream. We need to have contract negotiations with the boss to try to make that happen for us. I'd love that. All right, Cody, what else do you got for us today?
Yeah, next up, this is a pretty interesting thing, and I'm kind of excited for this. Another way to help promote the sponsors, right? We talked about all the different sponsors, and now that you don't just have one sponsor for the car. NASCAR in the past, on pit lane, they've always just had a little banner. You drape over whatever the primary sponsor is. You have that banner on the front of the thing. This season, NASCAR is going to have electronic displays that the teams can have on the pit boxes facing the track. So I don't know. It says, so I think this is going to be more on the pit cart from looking at the rules. But either way, it'll be pretty cool for them to just have, again, more advertising, more way to get them involved. It's going to be electronic programmable displays or messaging boards will be permitted. The displays must be mounted on the pit cart. I guess there's your answer. They have a maximum height of 42 inches. No reflective material on them. The board must light up. Okay, yeah, nobody cares about that. No flashing, strobing, chasing, charging, etc. during the green flag conditions. So they can kind of change them to different sponsors or have a promo running under the caution flag, stuff like that. It has to go through the same process that a sponsor on a car has to go through. They've got an email address that they send the stuff to. NASCAR says yay, nay, whatever the case may be. And it must have an adjustable dimmer function in case NASCAR says it's too bright, I guess. But I think this is an interesting move. We're seeing more and more ways to incorporate sponsors into everything. Sponsors, and it's so funny because I see people comment like, we'll post articles, places and stuff, and people are like, well, this is full of ads. And it's like, you're reading a free article here that someone spent their time on and they need to pay their bills and make money. And so, yeah, you scroll past some ads to read it. We've got ads on this show, but guess what? We're bringing you free picks. We're bringing you free shows. Everything else about it is free. And that's just how things work. And you see it, the NBA has the patches on their jersey now. NASCAR and racing, it was the OG of this, right? They're the ones who did it originally and have done it forever. You've got, soccer teams, football clubs that are named, after things like Red Bull, stuff like that. Now you're starting to see it over in F1. They're changing their team names, Rod, to sponsors, right? You've got so out in AlphaTauri, they just announced this week. They're going to be the Visa Cash App Red Bull Formula One team. So I mean they're full into it with Visa and Cash App. It's all one big deal, right? As part of their team name. And we've had some team names in the past with NASCAR, but it's because they were owned by those companies, right? Red Bull has been in NASCAR before. BK Racing we had as well for a period, but watch out. You're going to have the Roush, Fenway, Keselowski, Hawaiian Rolls team in a couple of years.
You know, this is what's funny too, is that this is electrical, right? I'm waiting to see how long it takes for somebody to try to hack into this. I wonder if it's Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah,
And
be like the street signs you see where somebody hacks into it.
yeah,
and changes the messaging on it.
yeah, or like really honestly tries to make it to where it's all flashy and distracting to everybody on pit road and driving around. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for somebody to hack into it and just so and so sucks.
I'm sure it won't take long.
No.
Or what mad person gets angry at another driver for taking him out and quickly changes the message to, F the 42 or something.
Yeah. Like that's what I'm waiting for. I'm telling you right now, it's like everybody like playing around in their
and then it'll be like, oh, we got hacked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, somebody hacked into
hacked. Yeah. Let me see where your IP address came from. Oh yeah, you were hacked. All right. Yeah, that should be interesting. And honestly, the more accessibility, the more easier it is to get sponsors, because again, it used to just be you have to put it on the car, right? And that's where the main source of income now. But when you can sell every little part of everything up to and including multiple sponsors on your pit box, like how long, and now look, I was in radio sales. Okay. So I understand the concept of selling 30 seconds or 15 seconds or heaven forbid 10 seconds per spot. So like that same type of breakdown can be on that pit box. Like I'll give you 30 seconds. I'll give you 30 laps. I'll give you 40 laps on this. And we'll, this is what you get.
Yeah, you get the first caution flag, or you get the first pit stop. When they come down to pit, you're going to be featured as you're going to get your 5 seconds on TV as they show the car coming down to pit, or in front, the people from the grandstands, they'll be able to see all that stuff as well. There'll be pictures of it and everything like that. So I think it's, again, NASCAR racing is not a cheap sport, and we've seen it's shifted over the years, right? And there's not the influx of money that there once was. It's not these, huge corporations just buying all 36 races and all, like every team is piecing partying this together. There's some really big teams out there. Noah Gragson, I don't think Josh Berry's like they're still shopping primary sponsors for races later on the season. Zane Smith just got this deal for 20 races. That means they had 20 unsold races prior to this week when this deal was announced, right? And so, again, any more ways to help out and get, again, more exposure for these companies. Advertising is key, so I love it.
Let's figure out which pit box we want the NASCAR Gambling Podcast to have the 10 seconds, the third pit stop, or we'll take the one that's not guaranteed. We'll take the fifth pit stop. Like
I've
under caution.
Behind the scenes, Rod, I know someone who had their company logo on a truck last year for a race, so I was kind of digging into that to see what's something like that costs. Who knows? We'll see.
We'll have to dive into that one as well. All right, I think we have time for one more. Let's pick.
Well, I want to catch up on contest fantasy news.
Oh yes, please do.
Stuff real quick. So quickly, I will promo our Daytona 500 contest again. Of course, we'll be talking about this the next few weeks. Get the Clash next week. It's a couple weeks till the Daytona 500, but never too early to enter. Again, free contest, because that's what everything we do over here is free, right? So free contest. Very simple. Go over to our YouTube, click the subscribe button, take a screenshot that you're subscribed, click on the form. We've got it pinned in our tweet at NASCAR Gambling. It's in the Discord, pinned on our Facebook page as well, the NASCAR Gambling Podcast Facebook page. You click on the little form, submit that picture, fill out your name, your email so we can contact you if you win. Pick your race winner. That's it. That's all you got to do. Very simple. $100 and a $100 merch store gift card. Again, merch store has so many great things, racing, gambling stuff, but also, refs or terrorist shirts, beanies, other sweatshirts. Other shows have good stuff, the old-fashioned football stuff, all sorts of stuff in there. So that's great. Plus a little cash for you too, which is always nice. So yeah, make sure you get entered into that. As we know, anybody can win the Daytona 500. Really, there's not a bad pick. There's some picks that are maybe not as good as other picks, but maybe you think this is Kyle Larson's year. He finally gets over the curse of the super speedways. Whatever it is, you can enter that. I also started, so we did the one and done pool episodes last week and this week. So I had a couple of people ask, like, hey, how do we get into one of these? Can we do something like this? So started one up. Very simple, very small. It's $13. The site charges a little fee to run it through there. So going to do that. The prize will be determined once we figure out how many people are going to be in it. And quite a few people are already signing up. So go check that out. That's in my pinned tweets over at Husker_Zeeb. It's got all the rules, but basically, just like we did when we were running through all the picks, is it's you pick one driver per race. You only get to use them once for the entire season. That's it. Basically, it's a golf score. You get 1 point if they win, 2 points if they finish second. 36 points if they finish 36th. You want to have the least points at the end of the year by making all your picks. Obviously, I think if you don't make a pick, you just get 37 points or whatever. But also, I went through and entered all of our picks from the show last week already in there. So all the picks are entered. I'll keep an eye on it. And if we need to make a substitution because the driver's out or something, we can do that. But want to see how that does, all of our preseason picks does against everyone in the competition. So I think that'll be pretty fun. But nice little cheap little fun contest that kind of incorporates a bunch of different things. And of course, you can go back and listen to those 2 episodes. I believe it was Friday and Monday's shows where we did part 1 and part 2, going through all the races and kind of talking some different strategies, different guys you could use different places. So I think that'll be a fun little contest. So I wanted to update on everybody on those. And then one final thing, we will have the official fantasy league, which will be free, like everything else. $200 gift card for the merch store. Again, bosses are being extremely generous, so we thank them for that. But I will have that set up. That'll be through the NASCAR Fantasy Live, their regular thing, hopefully this weekend. I think last time I looked that you couldn't start the season, but I think I saw somebody had posted you can now. So I'll try and probably get that set up this evening. I'll drop that in the Discord, drop it over on Twitter, Facebook, all the fun stuff once it is set up.
Hey, the only reason that they're being generous is because you guys continue to support us. So that's really the more you guys support us and the more the bosses love what's going on, the more generous they'll be. So definitely love that. Kyle Lee checking in saying Zane Smith plus what was 100-1 to win Daytona.
Ooh, I like it. He's a good super speedway driver. He's won in the Truck Series multiple times. It's not a bad bet at all. It's he's definitely a guy to look at and consider.
$5 bet has you eating steak for a good long time. So
There
I
you
love
go.
it. All right. Well, Cody, I think this is a great place to send everybody off on their Friday and enjoying the rest of the weekend. Or if you are enjoying this over your weekend, to keep enjoying your weekend. Or if you're enjoying this next week, enjoy your week. I don't know. I don't tell you when to listen to podcasts.
Enjoy it whenever you want.
Enjoy it whenever you want, but just enjoy it nonetheless. And for those of you who did join us through the whole thing, thank you for joining us.
You always hear the commercial, and it's like, whether you're listening to this podcast in your car or while you're doing laundry or mowing the lawn, and they list off like 10 things. You're like, hey, I'm doing one of those 10 things. Okay.
They're like, great. They're talking about
They're talking to me.
I love it. But whatever you're doing, I hope you continue to enjoy doing it after you stop listening to this podcast. And I hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast. And like I said, for those of you who have stuck around with us in the chat, cannot thank you enough. This show is just, it's getting more and more fun as we do it. I mean, not that the first 2 seasons weren't fun, but listen, it's just a lot of fun.
Now we're hitting our groove, Rod. It's just gets better from here.
Yep. We are in that where we've already renewed a couple of times and now we just know that the formula's there and you guys are with us through it all. So, all right. Well, Cody, as we send everybody on their way, let everyone know where they can find you on social media.
Yep. Follow me on the X at Husker_Zeeb. Find all of my stuff over there. Got a ton of stuff going on. Now is a great time of year. Share with your friends. Tell them about the show. Shoot them over a link. Shoot them the YouTube link. Shoot them the Spotify link, whatever it is. Hey, check these guys out. We appreciate it. The bigger this gets, the more big rewards you get, like the couple of contests we're going to have going on. So we appreciate all the love. Thank you guys for sticking with us this off season. That's it. I think that's it, right? That's the end of the off season, Rod.
That's it.
It is. The next show is race week. Let's fucking go.
JDK, one last time, thanks for the show. Thank you for joining us as well. Yeah, for sure, man. And get into the Discord, by the way. We haven't pitched the Discord in a while. sg.pn/Discord. Lots of conversations going on there all the time, especially once the season starts. Hot and heavy. People giving their picks. People giving their strategies. People just lamenting about the race on race day. So much going on there. So make sure you jump in the Discord as well. And listen, follow me on X at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it's in between media, sportsbook review. I got some Royal Rumble wrestling stuff going on. Also, check out the brand new Arena Football League podcast. That is live as well on my X feed or my Twitter posts or tweets or whatever you call them anymore. But yeah. All right. It's been a blast this offseason. Monday afternoon, we'll see you with some racing things. Busch Clash kicks off next week. We'll see you then. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.